and welcome to day 2 of our 7-day challenge. I hope you slept well last night. I certainly did. So let's start again on our backs as we did yesterday. So let's come down to lie in the corpse pose. So feet about hip distance apart, shoulders down away from the ears, and hands a couple of inches away from the sides of the body. And then when you're positioned like this, if this is okay, then by all means continue like this. But otherwise, if this is also okay, we might just take the soles of the feet together in Supta Baddha Konasana. Like I say, if this aggravates on any level, then just come back into the corpse pose or bring your feet flat to the mat if that's more comfortable for you. And then let's just take the hands onto the lower tummy here, so down by the pelvis then. And this time as we breathe in, we're going to see if we can breathe in through the nose and expand into the hands, so the hands lift towards the ceiling. And on the exhalation, releasing the breath, drawing the hands down towards the mat. So you're breathing in, expanding into that space. And breathing out, drawing the lower tummy then powers down towards the mat. So just a few rounds like that. Releasing your legs if it starts to get uncomfortable, especially if you feel any discomfort in the lower back. So you're expanding on the inhalation, breath entering through the nostrils and releasing through the nostrils on the exhalation. And just imagine that you really are bringing the life force, the energy, prana into this area of the body. So into the pelvis, helping to release any tension from this area, helping to enlighten this area. Just keep the face soft. So just settling with the breath, awareness of the breath coming in and going out, and awareness of sensation in the body. And then just letting go of this breathing technique at the end of the next exhalation. And let's inhale instead, the knees in towards one another and knees in towards the chest, so nice and gently. Just nice and gently, holding wherever feels okay to hold. You might just massage your backs on the mat again, just gently rocking from side to side. And then as we did yesterday, we're going to cross the ankles, but just go for the unnatural cross this time, so the opposite of what you would naturally go for then. Take hold of your feet or your shins. Either roll to the right side of the body and push yourself up, or rock forwards and backwards and bring yourself up from there. And then just sitting cross-legged if you can. If you can't, then obviously extend the legs, feet apart, or some of you kneeling, that's fine as well. So we're just going to come into little hip circles here. So we'll just turn, lead towards the left knee in theory. We'll take an inhalation, coming forward, left knee, chest forward, left knee to right knee. And then exhaling, right knee to left knee. So just getting a good movement into the pelvis here. So you're inhaling forward and around, and exhaling back and around. Okay, so just like that, inhaling forward and around, and exhaling back and around. So just do that one more time. You can even close down the eyes and really internalize awareness. And then come back to the starting position and swap the cross of the ankles, so whichever ankle is in front, bring it behind. And this time we'll swap the direction as well, so we'll lead towards the right. So we'll inhale from right all the way around towards left. And then we'll exhale from left to right. So you're inhaling nice hip circles, right to left. And exhaling left to right. 2 more like that. So inhaling. And exhaling. And then 1 more. So nice circular movements. Feeling the weight distribution changing through this all on the sitting bones. And then completing on an exhalation, coming all the way back to the centre. Good, and then let's bring the feet together now. So Baddha Konasana, or variation thereof. So let's press the heels together particularly. And then we're going to have a go at creating like a little mudra with our toes here. So if you draw the toes apart, it kind of looks a little bit like a lotus flower, kind of. So we'll bring the hands onto the ankles. Or imagine we have a lotus flower there anyway. So we'll take an inhalation, forward onto the front of the sitting bones, chest comes forward, so you're nice open-hearted, toes apart. And then on the exhalation, come back onto the back of the sitting bones and press the feet together, chin to chest. So inhaling, rocking forward onto the front of the sitting bones, chest open. And exhaling, rocking onto the back of the sitting bones, toes pressing together, chin to chest. So just a few more like that, inhaling forward. And you're exhaling, rounding the spine. Inhaling, chest forward, toes apart. And exhaling, rounding into the back, toes to touch. And then just inhaling, coming back to the starting position. Hands to the outer knees, draw the knees in towards one another. And then from there, bring yourself onto hands and knees. Have space ahead of you as you bring the big toes together. Take the knees as wide apart as is comfortable for you. Take an inhalation, fingertips on the mat. And exhale, let's get down close to the earth again. Hands shoulder distance apart. You could always, however, saying that, come onto your forearms to give you a bit of support. Some of you I know can probably bring your chest down onto the mat. Otherwise, forehead onto the mat. Those of you with the chest on the mat, you might rest on one side of your face. Keep pressing the sitting bones down onto the heels as much as you can, so there's a lengthening through the lower back. And breathing into the whole body now, so really breathing, expanding particularly into the rib cage, so you might feel the backs of your ribs moving here. So staying with the breath, finding space on the inhalation, softening on the exhalation. Those of you resting the head on one side, or resting on one side of your face, just turn it to the other side now. Staying aware of the breath. So here we are, opening into the inner thighs here, into the hips, working to increase mobility in this area of the body today. Brilliant. Okay, and then grounding the hands down onto the floor. Let's take an inhalation, lift the head and chest, and exhale, walk the hands back towards the body, bringing the knees now back hip distance apart, stretching the hands forward from here, shoulder distance apart. Let's come into our downward facing dog. So come onto the knees, tuck the toes under, take an inhalation, lift the knees away from the mat. Heels lifted, spine lengthening, finding as much length as you can before releasing on an exhalation the heels towards the floor, heels turned out. You might just walk on the spot here, releasing through the back of one leg and the back of the other leg. Brilliant. And then we're going to take an inhalation, lift the right foot away from the mat, and exhale your right foot to your right thumb, bringing your left knee down onto the mat, left foot flat. And then here we go, we'll go straight for it. Let's walk the right foot a couple of inches to the right, and then turn the right toes off at a 45-degree angle. So your right knee tracks your right foot. We'll come onto the fingertips, maybe nothing more happens today, otherwise we might take an inhalation, and on the exhalation, leading with the heart, reaching your hands forward, maybe coming onto your forearms. Keep the right foot flat to the mat and keep the chest reaching forward. You might even release your head down towards the floor, depending on how this feels for you. So stay with it, stay with it. You'll enjoy the release, I'm sure, but you might notice now quite some tension possibly through that right hip joint and through other parts of your body as well. And also the mind, of course, lots of tension in the mind possibly, which might be why there's lots of tension in the body, perhaps. Okay, so the breath, deepen the breath, really settle into that out breath, particularly releasing on the out breath. And then we'll take an in breath together, pressing the hands down, lift the head and chest, and exhale, walk the hands back. Hands are shoulder distance apart, let's tuck the left toes under, let's press the hands down, and inhale, let's extend this right leg up into the air, releasing through that hip joint before you exhale the foot down onto the mat. And then we're going to inhale the left foot up forward and exhale the left foot to the left thumb, releasing the right knee down this time, right foot flat. Walk the left foot to the left side of the mat a couple of inches. Turn the left foot up at a 45-degree angle, that left knee tracking that left foot. Try not to collapse over towards the right, by the way, so keep pressing into the top of the right big toe. Drop the pelvis, take an inhalation, chest open, and exhale, here we are. So again, keep that left foot pressing down and the left knee lunging over towards the left like this. Keep pressing into the ball of the right, or the top I should say, of the right big toe and lengthening that right leg back. So noticing sensation, breathing into that sensation. So it's the lizard pose, the joyful lizard pose, not always so joyful, although definitely joyful when we get out of the pose possibly, and joyful the effects, the positive effects of the pose. So just increasing, opening into the pelvis here. So this is the site, center of lots of movement anyway in terms of like reproduction and digestion. So the more we can bring movement into this area, the better. Okay, so let's take an inhalation, lift the head and chest, and exhale, walk the hands back, hands shoulder distance apart, tuck the back toes under, Take an inhalation, let's press the hands down and lift that left foot up into the air. And then exhale, release it down onto the floor. So back into our downward facing dog. We'll take an inhalation here, and on the exhalation, knees down onto the mat. Let's align the wrist joints just slightly forward of the shoulder joints, and let's take an inhalation, lift the head and chest. And let's exhale, round the back. So tailbone towards the floor, chin to chest, cat-cow. So on the inhalation, sitting bones, chest, crown of head lift. And on the exhalation, tummy active to lengthen the tailbone and the chin towards the floor. Inhaling, the tummy softens, lifting through the sitting bones, getting movement into the pelvis again. And then exhaling, tailbone towards the floor, chin to the chest. Inhale back to the starting position. And this time we're going to exhale the right foot to the little finger side of that right hand. I'm going to bring the right forearm onto the right thigh. We're going to inhale the left hand up and exhale the left arm all the way around the back of the body. So 2 more times. Inhaling up. And exhaling back. Last one, inhaling up. And exhaling back. Good, hands down onto the mat. Let's just turn that right foot off at a 45-degree angle again. And this time we'll just come into little hip circles. So just moving one direction and then the opposite direction, just through that right hip. Good, and then coming back to the starting position. And we'll just slip the right knee back onto the mat. We'll continue here from where we were with our cat-cow. So on the inhalation, we'll lift the sitting bones in the chest. And on the exhalation, we'll press the hands down, the shins down, chin to chest, tailbone to floor. Inhaling the sitting bones, lift, keep the feet pressing onto the floor. Exhaling, rounding the back, chin to chest, tailbone to the floor. One more like that, so inhaling, opening and broadening through your collarbones, lifting sitting bones, and then exhaling, tailbone down, chin to the chest. And then we inhale back to the starting position, and exhale the left foot to the little finger side of that left hand there. And then left forearm onto the left thigh, and we'll inhale the right arm up now, the eyes following the hand possibly as you exhale around. And we'll do that 2 more times, so inhaling, sweeping up, and exhaling around. Good, and then one more like that. Inhaling so there's an open heart. And exhaling down. And then hands down onto the mat. Left foot turning out towards the outer edge of your mat there, the outer corner. And again, just hip circles in one direction. And then in the other direction. So just again, bringing more movement into the hip joints. And then coming back to the starting position, and let's slip that left knee back onto the mat. From there, sitting bones towards the heels, hands forward. We'll come up onto the knees, tuck the toes under, take an inhalation, knees away from the mat, and exhaling, heels towards the floor. Just taking a few breaths here, lengthening through your sideways, drawing the lower ribs away from the mat. And then we're going to inhale the right foot away from the mat. And exhale the right foot to the right thumb, left heel to the middle of the mat. Repetition of yesterday really. So we're going to inhale the left hand forward and up, and exhale into warrior 2. So right knee on top of right ankle, left heel turned out. Not sure how this will feel after yesterday, but let's turn the thumbs down now. And let's bring the hands together at the back of the body. And then let's turn the chest towards the right foot, or the right leg. Take an inhalation, open into your chest. And exhale, let's bow now to the inside of that right foot. So feeling more grounded, hopefully, after yesterday, and now maybe feeling like this is not so easy going. As you drop the head down to the inside of the right foot, and then try and direct that right sitting bone towards the left heel, and hug the right knee in towards that right arm. Brilliant. Okay, and then take an inhalation, start to lift the head and chest away from the mat, and exhale the hands down. And then we're going to bring the hands flat, take an inhalation. And release, exhaling that right foot probably up into the air. You might even like to bend the knee and release the heel towards the left buttock, turning your chest towards the right. If it doesn't feel right, bring the right foot down onto the mat. Okay, those of you who have taken this option, really rolling that top hip back, chest towards the right arm straight. And then you too, taking an inhalation, let's straighten the right leg And exhale, release it down onto the floor, staying in downward facing dog for a moment as I just change direction. So we're going to repeat this on the other side. So we're going to inhale the left foot up, look forward. And exhale the left foot to the left thumb. Swivel the right heel to the middle of the mat. Reach that right hand forward. And inhale, come all the way up into your warrior two, as we did yesterday. Turning the thumbs down now. And bring the hands together at the back of the body, interlocking the fingers. Turning your chest to face towards that left foot, left knee on top of left ankle. Take an inhalation, humble warrior, as we exhale, bow to the inside of that left foot. Okay, so keep pressing into the right foot and trying to direct that left buttock towards the right heel, so you're not sticking the buttocks out as such. Dropping the head down towards the inside of that left foot, breathing, so don't forget to breathe, please. And then again, on an inhalation, start to lift away from the mat and exhale the hands down onto the floor, lifting that right heel. Take an inhalation, lifting the left foot, maybe extending on an exhalation up into the air, and you might even bend that left knee, dropping the left foot towards the right buttock, left knee up towards the ceiling, arms straight, chest towards the left. If that doesn't work for you, obviously just bring the left foot down onto the mat, right heel down regardless. And then all of us now, if you've got that leg lifted, let's inhale, straighten the left leg, and exhale, bring the foot down onto the floor. So both feet back onto the earth. And then we'll take an inhalation to lift the head, look forward. And on the exhalation, walk, step, or lightly jump your feet to your hands. You're going to take an inhalation, hands to the shins, extend the crown of the head forward. And exhale, fold from here, forehead towards the shins. Soften the knees, press the feet down, and inhale, reach the hands all the way up towards the sides of the mat and up towards the ceiling. And exhale, hands to the heart. Releasing your hands down, let's keep the left foot at the front of the mat. Take an inhalation, lift your right foot, and exhale, step your right foot towards the back of your mat, turning the toes to face the same direction, heels turned out, big toes turned in. Hands to the hips, elbows turned in, take an inhalation, open into your chest, and exhale, folding from here, hands down onto the floor. Bend the knees if you need to. It's possible you just stay here. Otherwise, you might take an inhalation and exhale, walk the hands back, Prasarita Padottanasana, fingertips in line with the tips of the toes, crown of head towards the floor, elbows in towards one another, lifting through your sitting bones, thigh muscles hugging to the thigh bones. So my top is determined to fall down. So just lengthening through the back body as much as you can. Please do keep the knees bent if you need to, and if you have got your hands flat to the mat, try and have them shoulder distance, as I said, and the elbows drawing in towards one another, shoulders away from the ears. And just allow a lengthening through the back body as you press the feet down onto the floor and lift up into the hip creases. Okay, and then from here, let's all take an inhalation now to lift the head and chest. And exhale, walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. And then let's lift the heels away from the mat and bend the knees. And very mindfully walk your hands around towards the front of your mat. Taking your hands either side of the foot at the front of your mat. Press the hands down, take an inhalation and exhale. Let's step back into downward facing dog. So downward facing dog with your hands at the front of your mat. Good, and then from here let's inhale, lift the head, look forward. And on the exhalation, walk the feet halfway towards your hands, turn the toes towards the outer edges of your mat, and come down into Malasana, so the garland pose, otherwise known as our little squat here. So by all means, you might have to have the heels lifted, otherwise you're going to drop the heels down towards the mat. You can bring your hands together at the heart, do so, pressing the inner knees or the inner thighs to the outer arms and outer arms into inner knees there. Lift the chest, breathing. Brilliant. And then releasing the buttocks down onto the mat. Some of you will probably be close enough, as I am, where you can just release the buttocks down, but obviously don't do that if you're going to bang your buttocks on the floor. That wouldn't be very nice. Okay, and then from here we're going to extend the right leg forward. We're going to keep the left knee joint closed and take the left knee off towards the side of the mat. Just put something underneath it if you feel you need like a bit of support for it, if you happen to have a blanket to hand or something. Right foot or left foot to the inside of the right leg here. Hands extended towards the ceiling. Take an inhalation, Janu Shirasana, and on an exhalation, lead with the heart, reaching your chest forward. So it may be that your hands just come down onto the floor, either side of that leg, so the spine can still be long. I don't want anyone to be rounding the back, if you can avoid it, please. So the chest leads. Some of you can hold your foot. If you've got a strap, you can take that around the foot, resting eventually the forehead onto the shin, as you press the left foot to the inside of the right leg. So try not to let that left foot slip underneath that right leg, which is often what happens. But try and steady the hip joint there by pressing the left foot in towards the right leg. So we're just finding that length through the back body, but opening at the same time into that left hip. Couple of breaths here. Good. And then let's extend, releasing binds, hands forward. Ground down as you take an inhalation to lift all the way up from here. And then let's exhale, release the hands down. And we'll bring the left knee back to the centre and extend that left leg along the mat. And then we'll bend the right knee towards the chest and take that right foot over towards, or right knee, sorry, over towards the right side of the mat. So the right foot presses to the inside of the left leg now. Hands towards the ceiling, drop the shoulders, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, lead with the heart. So lengthening chest forward. Take another inhalation, and then you can exhale, bring yourself into your posture, maintaining that length through the spine. Softening shoulders away from the ears, pressing down into the back of that left leg, but just being mindful, no one hyperextending through the back of the left knee. Pressing that right foot to the inside of the left leg. So your breath still steady. And then releasing any bind that you may have, extend the hands forward, ground down and take an inhalation to lift the hands up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, release the hands down. Let's bring now that right knee back to the centre, extend that right leg, and then we'll take the legs apart, Upavistha Konasana. So hands to the back of the body and lift the buttocks up, rocking onto the perineum if you can, that space between genitalia. If you find that this isn't great and you're actually sitting backwards like this, then I would encourage you to bend the knees and get that forward rotation through the pelvis. So knees lifted, toes lifted. And then you could lean your chest forward like this, and then your mission is to work towards straightening the legs, not today necessarily. Maybe not in this lifetime, actually, maybe many lifetimes, but there's where you're headed. Those of you who already have the legs straight, take a breath in. And on the exhalation, again, lead with the heart. You might take your hands to your feet, chest down, forehead down. And again, wherever you are, just settle with the breath. So sometimes there's quite some frustration in this pose because you can't really force yourself into it. Well, you shouldn't force yourself into any pose, really, but this one particularly not. Lots of patience as well, because it can take much practice to see any shift in your experience of it. So keep pressing out through the heels, toes dorsiflex, kneecaps facing towards the ceiling, breath steady. This is a boon for men and women. It's really supportive of the reproductive system. I find also it really does support the digestive system. And I find it also helps to calm the mind and also at the same time kind of enliven a little. Okay, from here we'll take an inhalation, lift the head and chest. And exhale, let's walk the hands back towards the body and take the hands underneath your knees. And slip the feet flat to the mat from there. Good, just letting that settle before slipping the right foot to the outside of that left hip. And then if you can, slipping the left knee on top of the right knee for Gomukhasana, cow's face pose. So again, not always the most comfortable of poses. If you find actually this is really quite challenging for you, then you might just straighten that right leg and just have the left knee on top of the right knee like that, with that right leg straight. You could always fold from here, so Ardha Gomukhasana, take an inhalation and exhale, come forward. Likewise, those of you that find this relatively easy going, and by all means you can also sit up on a block if you need to, or a blanket. If you feel that you're okay here with the knees pressing together like this, then you might have the hands down, take an inhalation and exhale, come forward from here. So this, even after many years of practice, is still often a challenge for me. So just settling into sensation. Sometimes you can feel the heat rising. So we often sit on our emotions here in the hips, so there's a lot of them stored there. You can often feel quite angry and frustrated when you work with the hips, teary as well, emotional then. Okay, those of you who have folded forward in the pose, take an inhalation to lift the head and chest. And exhale, walk the hands back, and then probably with some joy, hands to the back of the body, lean back, and inhale, extend your legs. And exhale, release them down onto the mat. And then this time it's the left heel to be outside of that right hip, and then the right knee on top of the left knee. Just shimmering around as I'm doing here, just to try and align that right knee on top of left knee, or left leg straight along the mat. Those of you wanting to move forward in the pose, or in terms of folding forward, take a breath in, and breathe out, come forward from there. So just finding that edge, which is often quite apparent in these hip poses. And breathing. So just notice maybe there's that tendency arising to need to get out of this posture. Maybe there's some irritation there, or whatever it may be. Just find it amazing how we hold these things in the body and how they appear in the mind. And it was maybe from the mind that they appeared in the body. So just being okay with what's happening for you. Try not to create more tension though, so soften the jaw and the face. And then let's take a breath in. Let's lift the head and chest. And exhale, walk the hands back, hands to the back of the body, extending your legs, releasing with joy, I'm sure. Before bringing the feet back down onto the floor. Okay, knees hip distance. Let's press the feet, or knees and feet hip distance. Let's press the feet down, take the arms out, take an inhalation. And exhale, bring yourself all the way down from there. And then take your feet like mat distance apart, with the knees still bent and the hands out shoulder height. Let's take an inhalation here and exhale. Let's release the knees towards the left as we turn the head towards the right. Inhaling, come back to the center. Use your core, feet flat to the mat. And exhale, knees over towards the right, head to the left. Inhale to the center. Exhale, knees over to the left, head to the right. Inhale to the center. Exhale, knees over to the right, head to the left. Inhale to the center and exhale, knees in towards the chest. Taking happy baby, soles of the feet towards the ceiling. Hold your feet if you can reach with your hands, or hold your shins, but press your lower back down. So if you're holding your feet, press your feet up into your hands, hands down onto feet. Keep the chin towards the chest. Anyone familiar with Yoga Nidrasana, now is your time to shine in Yoga Nidrasana. Good, and then on an exhalation, releasing from here, coming to rest. If you happen to have a chair or a bed near to you, or a sofa or something, I'd encourage you to just shimmy your buttocks towards the base of whatever that is that you could use, and rest the shins or the calf muscles then on top of the sofa or the bed or whatever it is. This is really good actually. Not what I'm doing right now. Imagine that I have a sofa or something underneath me. This is really good for women to support your menstrual cycles. So really good just to really flood that area with energy there. It's particularly good for postnatal women as well. I found it to be a boon during the postnatal period. So if you can do that, do that. Otherwise, legs stretched along the mat, arms resting on the floor, or hands on your lower tummy there, nourishing that area of the body, especially those of you Reiki attuned. Let's all take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. softening, letting go of the breath, body softening onto the floor. And those of you who have the time, I would really encourage you to stay here for another 5 to 10 minutes. For those of you who don't have the time, just inhaling your knees in towards your chest and massaging your back before rolling onto one side of the body and pushing yourself up from there. Sitting cross-legged, just noticing sensations, hands to the heart. And namaste, well done for completing day 2. Thank you.